Hi, everyone. I'm here with Jathniel, one of our student externships, and we're going to ask him a few questions about his experience with Chicago Telerad. Hi, Jathniel. How are you doing today?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm well, thank you. I'm going to start by asking you, what are two things that you've learned during your time here at Chicago Telerad?
Mainly, well, more than two things, but initially we had to do with X-ray interpretation of limbs, mainly
Sure.
hands and feet. Didn't see it as frequently. You'd pass over it fairly quickly in medical school. So
Sure.
here we got a chance to take a better look at it, identifying more subtle fractures or more subtle changes and stuff that we hadn't seen prior. So that was one of the areas with regards to X-ray. Aside from the basic chest X-ray, I don't think anyone's really good at chest X-rays unless
Sure.
so. And but get a more in-depth interpretation of that, how to see certain things. So that was one of those things that I learned. Moving on to CTs, that's where most of the learning was happening, particularly CT brains, axial interpretation of basic organs, different variations. Many things CT is gold standard for diagnosis, so we got to see a lot of those kind of
Sure.
cases. And so those were the main ones. MRI, it's a bit more challenging. They tried to teach.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
tried. It's a bit more complicated.
It's
But
nice to
with
see
particular,
everything. It's nice to see everything firsthand.
exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's great. Now, how was your experience working with Dr. Sami, Dr. Linder, and the whole Chicago Telerad team?
It was a great experience. Dr. Linder is way slower. I would say that would be better for. I'm happy. My first week was with Dr.
Hmm.
Linder because
Oh,
he's
good.
so much slower.
Yeah.
So it was great as a beginner to get more the hang of things.
Hmm.
Dr. Shami is also amazing. He's just so fast. Initially, it takes some time to get used to his speed.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I think that and the rest of the team was very supportive. I was quickly added to a group of education where they continue talking
Yeah.
about different cases and stuff. So, particularly Rhonda was always in contact with me, and that
Mhm.
was it was nice. She kept everything up, she kept everything fun, even during the sessions. Everyone was a pretty nice light mood, even though the work was flowing, but it was
Right.
pretty light mood. So it was a nice experience working.
Oh, good. I'm really glad to hear that. How did you find the convenience of virtual teleradiology clinical experience?
Good. Yeah, it's a very big advantage, the fact that you can basically be wherever and
Right.
get in contact. And just sign in and yeah.
Yeah.
So this it was way more convenient due to the fact that I didn't have to be there presential. But at the
Hmm.
same time, since it's radiology, there was not really much I was missing, though, which was the big advantage, really.
Right. I think the virtual aspect of it really helps you kind of train yourself to pay more attention and be more present because you're not in an actual setting. It kind of tests your your strengths there.
That's so true. So true.
I know for me at least.
Yeah.
Now, how would you rate this externship? One being the worst, 10 being the best.
I would put it as an 8, particularly since like my only I would say cutback points would be that people should know from the beginning the timing. So that's the only thing I wasn't aware of until I did
Uh-huh.
the first day. It's just like, no, it's actually at night.
Yeah.
All night.
Oh,
I was like, wait, what? Like, so
yeah.
particularly I would guess that's the one drawback point. The other drawback point is that I didn't get much recommendations of resources to learn.
Hmm.
So aside from, I don't know, I'll just try to go back to anatomy, netter, but at the same time, just a legit research to learn to help you
Hmm.
interpret when you learn. That is the only thing that I wasn't provided. So I would say I give it an 8 because everything else is fantastic. It's just that
Okay.
one, the timing, and like
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing that it would actually, I guess,
Hmm.
counteract with some people, particularly me at the time. It was a fun experience, but I was exhausted because I was
Yeah.
working.
It can
I
be an
worked all
adjustment.
day. Yeah, I was working all day and I was studying, and then I was doing the
Hmm.
rotation. So I was just,
It can be
I
an
was just
adjustment. Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
but I would put it at 8 for sure, solid 8.
Yeah. Oh, great. Now, what was the value of the externship worth, or was the value of the externship worth the price that you paid?
Yes, yes, it
Okay.
is. I saw you had some trouble there. It's just like,
I
yeah,
did,
it's
yeah. It's one of those days.
yeah, exactly.
What would you say to your colleagues who are considering this teleradiology externship to gain US clinical experience?
I would say it would be good because they get to not only learn, particularly if they're pursuing radiology, it's good for clinical experience. It's good to see how the workflow goes. Um, it's good to you even get some insight in how the entire system works in the States because of the way
Yeah.
they have to call in different cases, and then
Yeah.
this one came from here, and so you kind of, if you ask around, and you'll
Mhm.
learn a bit more about how the healthcare
You
system
can
in the
learn all
United
the
States
aspects of
works.
it.
Yeah, the only thing I would also tell them is that it is at night. I think that is the only
Just to
thing that
be
that
aware
they
of the
have to be
hours.
aware that, because most of the people who want to get this clinical experience already work as physicians.
Mhm.
So that would be like the only small little genre, but that they know and they prepare for it. They'll have a good time and they'll learn all.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for joining me for a couple of questions. I do appreciate your time, and we
You know,
appreciate your work here at Chicago Telerad.
thank you. You have a great day.